seats, please. I was like, how far is it going?
Yeah, you want me to get way back there.
I didn't see it, so I was like, I gotta head over there.
Hey, you're on the screen back there. Hey.
Ladies and gentlemen, good morning, and welcome to the christening ceremony for Virginia-class submarine Massachusetts, SSN 798. I'm Christy Miller, Director of Communications for Newport News Shipbuilding, and it's my pleasure to welcome you and introduce our platform guests. If everyone would please rise as the official party takes its place on the platform. Please welcome Captain Hannah Krewalt, Commanding Officer, Supervisor of Shipbuilding, Newport News. Captain Todd Weeks, Program Manager, Virginia-class submarine, PMS 450. Lieutenant Philip Kaufman, Command Chaplain, Submarine Readiness Squadron 34, United States Navy. The Honorable Deborah Lee James, former Secretary of the Air Force and Matron of Honor. Commander Michael Seedsma, Commanding Officer, Pre-Commissioning Unit Massachusetts, SSN 798. Vice Admiral Bill Houston, Commander, Naval Submarine Forces, United States Navy. Mr. Kevin Graney, President, General Dynamics Electric Boat. Vice Admiral Scott Kahn, Deputy Chief of Naval Operations for Warfighting Requirements and Capabilities, United States Navy. The Honorable Bobby Scott, 3rd Congressional District, Virginia. The Honorable Eric Raven, Undersecretary, United States Navy. And now, presenting Newport News Shipbuilding President, Ms. Jennifer Boykin, who is escorting Massachusetts ship sponsor, Ms. Cheryl Sandberg. Ladies and gentlemen, please remain standing for the Parade of Colors and the National Anthem. The Parade of Colors today is by the Submarine Readiness Squadron 34 Honor Guard. This will be followed by the National Anthem, performed by Newport News shipbuilder, Miss N.D. Frazier. Honor Guard, parade the colors.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fights o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet
honor guard retire the colors. Ladies and gentlemen, to deliver today's invocation, please welcome Lieutenant Philip Kaufman, Navy Chaplain.
Good morning. Let's pray. Most High God, we are thankful to you for an absolutely gorgeous day. As we gather to combine heritage and tradition, dedication and faithfulness, and life and soul, we ask for your divine presence and grace. Steeped in naval history where pride runs deep, Father, we find ourselves witnessing to the bonding of ship, crew, shipbuilder, and sponsor. And together in unity through this sacred ceremony, American history is being made. Side by side, we stand as the next step of the PCU Massachusetts brings her and her crew closer to becoming the next fast attack apex predator under our seas. And humbly, Lord, we ask you to bless every hand, keep all hearts unified, and give them peace each and every day as this journey continues. In your name we pray. Amen.
Please be seated. And now, please welcome Newport News Shipbuilding President, Ms. Jennifer Boykin.
Good morning. Good morning and welcome to this beautiful day. Distinguished platform guests, ladies and gentlemen, and most especially our sponsor, Ms. Cheryl Sandberg. It is my pleasure to welcome you to Newport News Shipbuilding and to the christening of the Virginia-class submarine, Massachusetts. I want to give a special thanks to the talented Woodside High School Select Women's Ensemble for providing the pre-ceremony entertainment. I'd also like to thank Lieutenant Philip Kaufman for delivering the invocation, the honor guard from Submarine Readiness Squadron 34, and the U.S. Fleet Forces Band for opening today's ceremony with such patriotic spirit. And yes, let's give them a hand. And I want to thank our very own Andy Frazier, a production planner and scheduler in the Virginia-class program, for that incredible performance of the national anthem. I understand Andy's church family is having a watch party on live, watching the webcast. We're glad you all could join us. I'm happy to welcome several distinguished guests with us this morning. From the Virginia House of Delegates, the Honorable Don Scott, the Honorable DeJuan Ward, and the Honorable Marcia Price, who is accompanied today by a special guest, her father, retired Newport News Mayor McKinley Price. Welcome back. I'd also like to welcome Allison Stiller, representing the Society of Sponsors of the United States Navy, and to take this opportunity to publicly recognize Vice Admiral Bill Houston, who was nominated this week by the Secretary of Defense as the next Admiral and Director of Naval Reactors. Congratulations, sir. Members of the Massachusetts Commissioning Committee traveled from the Bay State to join us today, including Dr. Chip Dye and Commissioning Committee Chairman Dennis Hamilton. We appreciate you making the trip to share this day with us. Massachusetts may be one of our smaller states, but her patriotism is mighty. We have a number of proud Bay Staters with us today. So I would like to ask each of you, whether you live there now or you hail from Massachusetts, to please stand so that we can recognize you and your Massachusetts patriotism. I'd also like to welcome all of our guests who are here in person and all those who are tuning in through our webcast. Thank you for joining us. We are here today to bear witness to an important milestone, a time-honored tradition steeped in history and in pride. For more than a century, we have christened ships here at Newport News Shipbuilding. This long-standing Navy and shipbuilding custom celebrates the hard work demonstrated by the women and men constructing these incredible ships, and in this case, this incredible submarine. The craftspeople, engineers, planners, and others who are readying Massachusetts SSN 798, readying her for her launch, sea trials, and delivery to the United States Navy. This milestone also recognizes the special bond between our sponsor, Ms. Cheryl Sandberg, the Massachusetts, her shipbuilders, and her crew. As ship sponsor, Ms. Sandberg will make history when she smashes a bottle of American sparkling wine across the submarine's bow, officially naming the boat and forever imparting her spirit onto this powerful platform. This is an exciting day, one that inspires hope, courage, and patriotism. All around us are nods to this patriotism, from the red, white, and blue bunting to this boat's fine crew to this massive vessel that is Massachusetts to my left. Every christening is special, but there is something a little magic in the air today, and it is the unique patriotism inherent in Navy shipbuilding, and it is recognition of the great patriotism of the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. We can all think back to our history classes and remember the important role that Massachusetts played in our nation's founding. One of the original 13 colonies, it's home to Plymouth Rock, the shot heard round the world, and of course, the Boston Tea Party. Its Minutemen fought in the American Revolution, arriving at a minute's notice to give their all for their countrymen. We see that same spirit in our shipbuilders here today. These proud men and women work tirelessly to bring our ships to life, recognizing that their efforts help ensure our peace and freedom. They work around the clock, ready at a minute's notice to turn raw steel into these undersea giants. This work is not easy, and sometimes the challenges can feel insurmountable. But it is their patriotism that fuels their fire and that motivates them to support the United States Navy like only a shipbuilder can. This incredible team is in the thousands, including shipbuilders here at Newport News, our teammates at Electric Boat, and over 5,000 submarine suppliers across this great nation. We all work together to support the U.S. Navy and to deliver capable, formidable ships that demonstrate American pride across the globe. Shipbuilding is a noble calling, and you can see from the pride and in our craftsmanship before you the evidence. When Massachusetts joins the fleet, she will be the latest in innovation and power, forging ahead in defense of our freedoms, just like Paul Revere on his midnight ride. As SSN 798 supports the Navy's critical missions around the world, she will carry with her the patriotism of her shipbuilders. I'd like to thank these women and men for bringing excellence and care to every task they touch, for giving their all, and for always putting safety and quality above all else. Because as they will tell you, the mission starts with us. Would all of the shipbuilders here today please stand and be recognized? The patriotism of Massachusetts is also demonstrated by her commanding officer and her fine crew. These sailors work alongside us during the construction process and will continue to partner with us as the ship goes through testing operations. Our relationship with them is as important as the products we deliver, because it reminds us how critical our work is and inspires us to build the best boats at sea. Our sailors' lives depend on our quality, and it is this responsibility that guides our every action. Finally, the Bay State's patriotism is demonstrated by our sponsor, Ms. Cheryl Sandberg. Ms. Sandberg embodies the drive and innovative spirit America is known for. As a Harvard grad, she brought Boston's fierce independence to California, where she forged a path for technology and equity in the workplace. Today, she will impart her spirit on this submarine, strengthening the unique bond that will last the life of the boat. If you've seen a Massachusetts license plate, then you know the phrase, Spirit of America. The Bay State surely demonstrates this spirit, and so does this mighty submarine. When delivered to the United States Navy, Massachusetts will represent the spirit of America. She will protect our freedoms with the spirit of her sailors, and she will forge ahead with the spirit of her sponsor. This boat's patriotism burns bright in the hearts of our shipbuilders, who build her with the same passion that will guide her through her years of service and inspire all of us to fight for this great nation. This is the romance of shipbuilding, and this is the spirit of America. Thank you. It is now my honor to introduce my fellow shipbuilder and our next speaker. After serving as a Navy submariner, he joined Electric Boat and now leads their talented workforce. We here at Newport News Shipbuilding are proud to team with them on the Virginia-class and Columbia-class submarine programs. Please give a warm welcome to the President of General Dynamics Electric Boat, Kevin Graney.
Thank you, Jennifer, and good morning, ladies and gentlemen. On behalf of the now more than 20,000 shipbuilders of General Dynamics Electric Boat, I am honored to participate in the christening of Massachusetts, the 25th ship of the Virginia class. And from my perspective, we've been blessed 3 times today. First, this incredible weather. Second, USS Vermont got underway from Electric Boat this morning following her PSA. And now we're here. This day just keeps getting better and better and better. It's a really good day for boats named after New England states, I think. I'd like to recognize our distinguished platform guests and our ship sponsor, Mrs. Cheryl Sandberg. Among her many accomplishments, Cheryl has focused on making the workplace more inclusive and supportive of families and their well-being. This is important work. And as the entire submarine enterprise seeks to recruit and retain the next generation of shipbuilders, inclusion and wellness are focus areas EB and Newport News are paying particular attention to. Cheryl, the crew of the Massachusetts and their families are blessed to have you as their sponsor. Also, my compliments to and thanks to Commander Siedzma and his superb crew who are working hard to complete this tremendous submarine. I thank each of you for your service to our great nation, and I know your team will display a complete dedication to duty and a commitment to excellence as you prepare your boat for sea trials, delivery, and commissioning. To our skilled and dedicated shipbuilders, thank you for dedicating your life's work to building these magnificent boats, the most sophisticated machines ever built by humankind. Excellence in all you do is the standard. There really is no substitute for the men and women who call these submarines home while they serve our nation. Last month, on April 10th, we recognized the 60th anniversary of the loss of the submarine USS Thresher. On that tragic day in 1963, all 129 of her crew and civilian riders perished. The lessons learned from Thresher ushered in the SubSafe program to ensure that every crew returned safely to their loved ones. And as we solemnly marked this anniversary at Electric Boat, each of us had the opportunity to renew our commitment to our craft and to those who serve. Shipbuilders, what you do today and every day and how you do it matters. I had the privilege of earning my gold dolphins as a Navy submariner, and I never lost trust in the people who built the boat I served on, by the way, built right here at Newport News. Today, I now get to sail Virginia-class submarines on their initial trials as a job perk and as my personal commitment that the ship is built right. And while the technology and capability of these boats inspires me daily, what you should be most proud of and protective of is the sacred trust between the shipbuilders who bend, weld, and outfit the steel and the submariners who intend to sail into harm's way. We're undergoing a shift in our industry. Highly experienced, distinguished shipbuilders are completing their careers and passing along a lifetime of experience and lessons learned to the next generation. To our new shipbuilders, thank you for answering the call and serving your country. Teddy Roosevelt once said, "One of life's great prizes is to work hard at work worth doing." And I can think of no better example of work worth doing than defending the cause of freedom the world over by building submarines for our Navy. You have inherited and will build upon a rich history of shipbuilding, and in doing so will benefit our country, will benefit personally and professionally, and be filled with an enormous sense of pride and accomplishment. And I encourage you to earn that inheritance each and every day. To all the men and women whose hard work on Massachusetts brought us here today, thank you. You know, too often today we hear how we have been never more divided as a nation, and I completely disagree. I don't see it that way at all. I get to come to work every day and participate as part of a team focused on a mission and a purpose that demonstrates the ties that bind people together are much stronger than the differences some like to magnify. And I hope today fills you with a shipbuilder's and a sailor's sense of pride and patriotism, and leaves you with the knowledge that we are all truly connected. Yes, at the moment, by the black hull steel of a nuclear submarine, but also by a mission and a purpose we all share as human beings and as American patriots. Thank you.
Thank you, Kevin, for your remarks. Our next speaker has a unique understanding of SSN 798's future role in the fleet. For the last 2 years, he has served as the Deputy Chief of Naval Operations for warfighting requirements and capabilities. He is responsible for validating and integrating resources and requirements for manpower, training, safety, modernization, and procurement of the U.S. Navy's many systems, including the branch's undersea warfare domain. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Vice Admiral Scott Kahn.
How's everybody doing? Good? You know, I gotta say, as an old fighter pilot, you know, participating in a christening ceremony falls in the it's pretty cool category. Okay? So I do thank you for the kind introduction, Jennifer, and the warm welcome. And I am honored to be here on behalf of the Navy to get this boat one step closer to joining the fleet as the 8th ship named after the great state of Massachusetts. Representative Scott, Undersecretary Raven, Ms. Sandberg, distinguished guests, family and friends, thank you for being here today for this huge milestone for the USS Massachusetts. Now, the Virginia-class submarine, I think it was in the prayer, which I thought was a little bit odd, as the apex predator, but it is true. And the capabilities that that boat will provide represents how we need to fight, what type of technology we need to fight with, but first and foremost is how to preserve the peace, because that is job one. And having combat capability forward as a deterrent is the best means to do that. And it's also tied to what the Chief of Naval Operation calls his 6 design imperatives. That we need greater distance, a nuclear-powered submarine, definitely. We need greater deception and stealth characteristics of that technology. More defense, and sometimes offense is a good defense. Distribution and decision advantage and the exquisite sensors that are on that we can integrate across the joint force is what that submarine represents. Whether across the air, sea, undersea, space, and cyber domains, okay, that's how we talk in the military in terms of the various things that are in space, things that fly, things that steam through the waters, and things that are undersea, and then cyber. I think we all understand what that is. This is an important component to the undersea domain. But even when you talk about the space domain, the air domain, the surface domain, the undersea domain, and the cyber domain, there's always one domain that is taken for granted, and that's the human domain, our people, who are the best at what they do, who tie all those domains together, and as a very fabric, who've raised your right hand, took an oath to wear the cloth of our nation. And I find that a privilege to have done for over 37 years. And it's more than just the fast attack submarines, particularly in this area, where we build our aircraft carriers, and I think I see the nose of one back there, and a ballistic missile submarines, modernize our destroyer in the greater Hampton Roads area, and then train them and certify them for deployment. Shipbuilding today is the most important point since World War II. I'm going to say that again. Shipbuilding today is at the most important point since World War II. Adversaries and peer competitors are challenging us across the globe. And we must have the warfighting capabilities in our ships, in our submarines, in our aircraft, and the very weapons that go in them or on them to meet the pacing challenges. The time has passed for hand-wringing. We are now rolling up our sleeves and getting to work, and much of that work is represented to the shipbuilders who stood up and got be recognized before. To do that, industry and the Navy must continue to work better as a team to deliver these boats on time and on budget. And it's imperative that collectively work towards the delivery cadence of 1 Columbia and 2 Virginia-class submarines per year. That is the North Star. That will be hard. But in the environment that we're in, hard has been authorized. And I thank each and every one of you for the work you do. And the work will not get done by the men and women of the industrial base alone, but specific to the shipbuilding industry. I won't ask you to stand up again, and I know I'm also talking to people on the internet, but there's a lot of ways to serve your nation. Wearing a uniform is one of them. Without you, and without you, what you do every day to build those ships and the other ships that we're constructing, our nation is at stake. And I can't thank you enough for the sacrifices you make and for the hard work in the service to your nation. Thank you. We look to our submarine force to be ready, agile, and embody the warfighting ethos as the apex predators, to be bold and lethal, be ready and agile, to be committed professionals. And as a team, you're uncompromising in your values and mindful heritage. Virginia-class submarines like the Massachusetts provide capabilities and lethality that our combatant commanders and the Joint Force rely upon every single day. Maintaining our undersea dominance requires having submarines underway and deployed around the globe. We recognize there is work to do when it comes to maintenance and parts of our submarines, and we're putting the resources to it. Last year, over $2 billion were dedicated to improving our production. And I'm going to skip the various techniques here because I'm starting to go over my time. This year, an additional $2 billion to go towards maintenance, to reduce idle time on the ships that we already own. To the future crew of the Massachusetts. You must embody the warfighting culture of confidence, but it can't be blind confidence. You need to realize that through time, individuals and organizations either get better or worse. They never stay the same. Challenge yourself every day to be those warriors that we need you to be those leaders that we need you to be. You know, all our communities, the aviators, the surface warfare officers, the submariners, we all have, have giants that we stand on the shoulders that came before us. For the submarine community, it was much more Dick O'Kane, Lawson, Red Ramage, who also came from the Massachusetts. Stand tall on their shoulders. But in my discussions last night with some pretty impressive women at the reception last night, some of them I knew. I said, why are you here? And they told me about being leaders, the lean in circle leaders. And as I started going through my mind about my speech, I realized it's not just about the warriors that came before us. It's about the very people who inspire us today. And Cheryl, you're one of those leaders and those giants that those women are standing on. And based on my conversation last night, they are standing tall. Thank you. Okay, with the upcoming break of the champagne bottle, this boat and prospective crew will be one step closer to joining the fleet and defending our nation. Thank you again to everyone who had a hand in getting the Massachusetts to this point, as well as to put this ceremony together, because I know that just doesn't happen. I will repeat, Star Spangled Banner, wow, chills went through my spine, and really thank you for the opportunity to be here and to take part in this time-honored tradition.
Thank you, Admiral Khan. We are fortunate here to have a strong Virginia delegation that supports our industry and our shipbuilders. Our next speaker has been a powerful voice for our shipbuilding team for many years. He is currently serving his 16th term in the U.S. House of Representatives, and we are proud to be located in his district, and we are honored to have him back for today's ceremony. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Congressman Bobby Scott.
Good morning, Newport News Shipbuilding. Thank you, Ms. Boykin, for that very kind introduction, and it's an honor to be here this morning to celebrate the christening of another ship built by the greatest shipbuilders in the world. I want to welcome Ms. Cheryl Sandberg, the sponsor, as well as Deborah James, the Matron of Honor, Eric Raven, the Undersecretary of the Navy, and other distinguished guests, especially my Virginia colleagues, Don Scott, Marcia Price, Delegate John Ward, and Mayor Price, sitting in the front row, and especially the crew of the Massachusetts. I have the great distinction and honor to represent this proud shipbuilding community in Congress. Shipbuilding runs deep in Hampton Roads, and for the last 135 years, the men and women who work at this shipyard, many fourth and fifth generation workers, provide the Navy with the most advanced, best built ships in the world. Nuclear submarines and aircraft carriers are constructed here that are vital to our nation's national security and the sailors who serve aboard them. The Massachusetts is the 25th Virginia-class submarine, and like its sister ships, the Massachusetts will be critical to ensuring that our Navy is able to maintain its undersea supremacy. This new ship is a fine example of our dedication to maintaining our sovereign ability to sail the seas unfettered to protect the interests of our nation and our allies all over the world. Now, while Virginia has always been home to me, I have a special connection with Massachusetts. I went to high school, college, and law school in Massachusetts. And while in law school, I served in the Massachusetts Army National Guard. And so I can say with certainty that the citizens of the great Commonwealth of Massachusetts can justifiably be proud that this ship carries the name of the Bay State. Now this day would not be possible without the skilled labor and hard work of our shipbuilders. So I want to personally thank each of our shipbuilders here at Newport News for your dedication to your trade. You have always answered the call to construct America's finest ships and maintain and repair them when necessary to ensure that our fleet is always ready to face any national defense challenge. The Massachusetts reflects your professionalism, skill, and dedication to our nation and its Navy. Each of you should be proud of your contribution to the defense of our nation, and your work on the Massachusetts, especially during these trying times, make sure that our nation continues to fulfill its important promise and make sure that the crew of the Massachusetts will be able to fulfill any mission it takes on. So this is a great day for Newport News, a great day for Massachusetts, and a great day for the United States of America. Thank you.
Thank you very much for joining us and for your comments, Congressman Scott. It is now my honor to introduce today's principal speaker. As Undersecretary of the Navy, he serves as the branch's Chief Operating Officer and Chief Management Officer, responsible for defense, intelligence, Navy policy, and more. His time in government helped him become an invaluable advisor to congressional members, and he understands the critical role our ships play in both national security and humanitarian aid throughout the world. We had the pleasure of hosting him at the ceremonial keel laying for the aircraft carrier Enterprise last summer. We are very happy to have him here with us again. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the Honorable Eric Raven.
Thanks, Jennifer, and good morning, everyone. I am truly honored to be here today with all of you to celebrate the christening of the future USS Massachusetts. And as one of the last speakers before the smashing of a champagne bottle against this magnificent boat, I'm going to try to keep my remarks a little short. At each of these events which honor the early milestones of a ship's construction, I'm always struck by this attendance. All of us, whether on the dais or in the audience, are here for an important reason. It's not the pageantry or the speeches, even my own. Instead, we're gathered here because we all believe in the defense of our incredible republic. That does not just mean the system of government. It means the protection of our people, our prosperity, our friends, our allies, and an unwavering commitment to a better future for us all. Today, we signify this commitment to these principles by joining together to celebrate the future and unlimited potential of this boat, those who will serve aboard her, and the important missions she will carry out. From design to delivery to employment, each person here is making their vital contribution to maintaining our nation's maritime dominance and the freedom that we all cherish. I've said this before at other christening and commissioning events. Building, improving, and modernizing our fleet is no easy task. We are able to deploy exquisite capabilities across the globe in great part to our dedicated shipbuilders. These talented women and men are able to turn raw steel into the world's most sophisticated undersea capabilities. To our shipbuilders here with us today and on the internet, thank you all. It is your dedication and high quality of work that keeps the Navy on track. performing our mission today and into the future. And our Navy and our shipyards cannot succeed without the support of our communities. And we know Newport News and the greater Norfolk area is a Navy town. From first responders to teachers, neighbors to friends, the support this community provides to our Navy families is incredible. Thank you for being here. Thank you for all that you do for our sailors, our shipbuilders, and their families. And now, hand in hand with the tools we need to win are the resources that allow us to get there. Our members of Congress are so important. Having spent most of my career there, I have seen firsthand their leadership and steadfast support of our naval forces and capabilities. Congressman Scott, thank you for representing your colleagues today. You are a consistent friend and supporter of our Navy. And thank you for your continued commitment to ensuring your Department of the Navy has predictable and consistent funding to do what our nation calls us to do. And speaking of what we are called to do, you just heard Vice Admiral Khan talk about the importance of our submarine fleet, and I couldn't have said it better myself. The future USS Massachusetts will join the fleet at a critical time when our nation will need the most capable, most ready, most agile, and most lethal undersea fighting force to strengthen our nation's ability to keep the peace or restore it through decisive action. Vice Admiral Khan talked about our most recent budget submission, which is usually my pitch, but he is right. We are putting our money where our mouth is regarding our submarines. We have a strong fleet now, and just wait until the Massachusetts joins it. She will add the next generation of stealth, surveillance, special warfare capabilities to our joint force. This powerful boat and her crew will protect our sea lanes, strengthen our maritime dominance, and deepen our relationships with our allies and partners. As we look forward to these missions that this boat will conduct when she later joins the fleet, we also take time to celebrate the namesake. As mentioned before by others, ships named for the Bay State have a rich and storied history. Beginning in 1791, she has been a cutter, a steamer, a schooner, a sloop, and a battleship. She has seen battle in the Mexican-American War, Spanish-American War, the Civil War, and World War II. And now she will be a Virginia-class submarine, the 8th of its name, patrolling the deep, ready to answer the call whenever. Following the example of spirit, patriotism, and selflessness of those before you, the future crew of the next USS Massachusetts will chart your own course in the American naval power history books. And the crew of the Massachusetts will be blessed to have the enduring support and partnership of its sponsor, Ms. Cheryl Sandberg. Cheryl, thank you for accepting this precious duty. Today, you continue your sacred journey, strengthening the bond between you, this boat, and its crew that will embark upon her. You will bring your unique personality, values, and energy to this boat and its crew. It is no surprise why Secretary Mabus chose you to be a ship sponsor. Your life's work epitomizes what we strive for every day, building resilient and cohesive and inclusive teams. And that is what the future crews of this boat must be and will be. Our nation is grateful for what you have done in your own life, professionally and personally. We are equally grateful for what you will do for this boat and its crew. And as you break the champagne bottle on the bow to christen this ship, you are reaffirming your commitment to the boat and its crew as they anxiously await their opportunity to take to the sea and to continue to defend our nation, just as their predecessors have for 246 years. In times of conflict and in times of peace, around the world and around the clock, our Navy and Marine Corps are present, protecting our way of life, advancing our global security, safeguarding our economic interests. Pro patria, for country. Thank you again for having me.
Thank you, Secretary Raven. It is now my distinct privilege to welcome our next speaker and today's guest of honor. She is an innovator in both women's advocacy and in Silicon Valley. Her nonprofit organization works to build a more equal and resilient world, and she has spent over a decade advocating for women's rights and gender equality. She served as Chief Operating Officer for Facebook, now Meta, for 14 years, during tremendous growth for the company and implementation of industry-defining benefits that made the workplace more inclusive. As SHIP sponsor, she participated in a virtual keel laying ceremony in 2020 due to the COVID pandemic. I had the pleasure of introducing her to our shipyard yesterday during her visit, and I know her relationship with her submarine, its shipbuilders, and crew will only flourish. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming the sponsor of the Virginia-class submarine, Massachusetts, SSN 798, Ms. Cheryl Sandberg.
Thank you. As I heard the quite lovely and nice things people said this morning, I was reminded of President Johnson. He once had an overly kind introduction, and he remarked that he wished his parents had been there. His father would have appreciated it, and his mother would have believed it. My parents are here. Same thing applies. So this just may be the coolest thing I have ever done. When Secretary Ray Mabus asked me to sponsor Massachusetts 8 years ago, I was deeply honored and really excited. But that excitement has only grown as I have learned just how special Massachusetts is. She's one of the first builds of Virginia-class submarines to be intentionally designed for men and women sailors. And at every stage of her build, women played key roles, with Jennifer Boykin, the first female president of Newport News Shipbuilding, leading the way. Go, Jennifer! We are gathered here today to celebrate all of the shipbuilders, all of the women and all of the men from Newport News and from General Dynamics Electric Boat. We are in awe of the painstaking labor you put in day after day, year after year. Every detail matters, from the tiniest rivet to the most complex defense system, because sailors' lives depend upon that work. Today, we can see how those days and those details added up to something colossal and fierce, unmatched in the world of shipbuilding. We are also in awe of the sailors who will serve on board. We admire your courage, your grit, your resilience, and that of your families. We know the sacrifice you all will make, and our country is so fortunate to have you in our silent service. Thank you to all of you. Now, some of you might know that I've been pretty outspoken on issues of gender equality. But what you might not know is that the Navy helped me find my voice. 12 years ago, Superintendent Vice Admiral Miller invited me to give the Forrestal Lecture at Annapolis. On that hallowed stage, I said something I had never said before, which is that if we wanted to get to equality, we were going to have to make it possible for more women to lean in. It was the very first time I used that phrase, and I haven't stopped using it since. In that speech for the midshipmen, my very next sentence was that Admiral Millen had spoken about the importance of this for the Navy earlier that year at the White House. Admiral Mullen, then chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, called for the ban on women serving on submarines to be lifted. and it was. Today is more than just the christening of a vessel. Today is the celebration of progress. When this diverse crew sets out on this magnificent ship, I hope the service members wonder, what was the big deal about having women serve on submarines? And then I hope they realize that getting to the point where it wasn't a big deal was a very big deal. To build a future that looks like today took a massive effort from real champions of change. People like Secretary Ray Mabus, who believes that serving in the military, women serving in the military, is critical to our national security, that no one should be excluded based on race or gender, identity, or sexual orientation. Under his watch, paid maternity leave tripled, the Navy promoted its first 4-star female admiral, and submarine service was open to women. People like Vice Admiral Miller, who is here with us today with his wonderful wife, Barbara, also sponsor of a Navy warship. Years after Vice Admiral Miller invited me to give that Forrestal lecture, I was going through a really rough time in my life, and he reached out. He told me that a smooth sea never made a strong sailor. Those words made a huge difference and helped carry me through. Vice Admiral Miller, thank you for your friendship that has meant so much to me. People like Secretary of Defense Ash Carter, who's here with us in spirit today. In 2015, Secretary Carter officially endorsed Lean In for all military branches. As he said, we need to draw the top talent from the complete pool of Americans. We all salute and we all miss Secretary Carter today. People like Undersecretary Raven, who's devoting his life to public service. He's defended the Navy's commitment to DEI in front of the U.S. Senate. And as the Navy's Chief Operating Officer, he runs a really tight ship. And people like former Secretary of the Air Force, Deborah Lee James, who so generously serves on the board of the Lean In Foundation and has done so much to make our country's armed services better and stronger for women and everyone. She's here today as my matron of honor. Emphasis on the word honor, not matron. Lean In circles are small groups that meet together to work towards equality, and they now support thousands of women on active duty and veterans. 9 extraordinary military circle leaders have traveled here from all over the world to be with us today. Thanks to them, these circles meet everywhere, from the Pentagon to mess decks to airplane hangars, and I hope one day on Massachusetts. My great-grandmother took a very different boat from Lithuania to Ellis Island in the late 1800s. That voyage took 19 days, and there weren't even 3-minute showers. If she had not, my family almost certainly would have perished in the Nazi concentration camps. My father proudly served this country, and he and my mother raised me to be grateful for our freedoms and all of those who defend them. It is because you do your jobs that the rest of us get to do ours in a land of liberty and a land of peace. In the years ahead, I will think often of the brave Massachusetts crew as they travel far from their homes to protect ours, led by really one of the most special people I have ever met, Commander Siedzma. There he is. And supported in spirit by his incredible wife, Kate. These women and these men are the very best of our nation. Your dedication guarantees the freedom of the seas for decades to come. It is one of the honors of my life to christen this submarine and spend the day with service members, with incredible shipbuilders, and all of your families. You are a living legacy of all that America represents. And finally, I do have one small suggestion. I know that ship sponsors have always been women, but I was wondering, in the name of equality, if the Navy would consider opening up this honor to men. I think they might be able to handle it. God bless Massachusetts, God bless all who will sail in her, and God bless America.
Thank you, Ms. Sandberg, for your remarks. That is, I would say, impossible to follow, except that what follows is equally exciting. The moment we've all been waiting for. In just a few moments, Ms. Sandberg, Secretary Raven, and Massachusetts Commanding Officer Michael Siedzma will join me as we make our way to the bottle break platform. When we get there, the shipyard whistle will sound, indicating it's time to christen SSN 798. Now, most of you know what that means, but for our guests, when I say whistle, it doesn't really sound like a whistle. It's a big, loud sound, but that's the whistle. Don't let it frighten you. Following the christening, we will return to the stage for one final presentation. So, without further ado, let's get this wicked stealthy boat christened.
I christen thee United States Ship Massachusetts. May God bless this submarine and all who sail in her.
say I am pretty confident that was the most incredible swing I've ever stood next to. Before we conclude, we have a special presentation for our sponsor. We had to wait because there's literally shards. As tradition dictates, after each christening, we present the sponsor with literally what, in this case, what is left of the christening bottle. It will be enclosed in a handsome wooden box made by our own shipbuilder, Robert Vernon, in our pattern shop. SSN 798's bottle box will be presented by master shipbuilder and welder Ronnie Payne. Ronnie welded Miss Sandberg's initials at the boat's keel laying ceremony 3 years ago, and since the pandemic limited our fanfare at that time, we're very pleased to have him with us here today. So if Miss Sandberg and Ronnie would please join me beside the podium. Thank you both very much for the role that you play, and Massachusetts will always be part of you, as you will both always be part of Massachusetts. Ladies and gentlemen, this concludes today's ceremony. We ask that you remain in your seats until the platform guests have exited the stage. Then after we've cleared the area, guests will have an opportunity to safely go up to the bottle break platform for photo ops. As you leave, please be sure to pick up your one-of-a-kind Massachusetts christening poster that captures the great patriotism of both the submarine and the state. Please be safe as you exit today, and everyone, please enjoy the rest of this beautiful day. Thank you.